Well, hello everyone. It's a Thursday afternoon, and it's after lunchtime. I'm just taking a short walk before going back to work. This is one of my favorite lakes and parks. It's near Estancia Drive. And I'm thinking about how to apply philosophy to work. The first premise that I apply is that since I believe in practical philosophy, what I naturally do is I look for practical concepts and methods and systems that not only make you think that you're improving at work, but actually gives you practical steps to put it into action, to change behaviors. And so I'm thinking about the Japanese method called Kaizen. That's Kaizen. Kaizen is a recent addition to philosophy. Only maybe I think it started about 75 years ago compared to other practical philosophies that are 2,000 years old. But Kaizen favors or supports the idea that you are making improvements at work, not just thinking like, sure, I want to make improvements at work, I want to be profitable, I want to be successful. No, this is the idea that you're making improvements at work, you're doing it every day, you realize that the improvements you make are going to be important for the process, how you operate at work. And if you truly apply this concept of Kaizen, then anyone at work, anyone from the top to the bottom, can make suggestions, and people will actually consider it and think about it. And of course, someone who works there, even for a short period of time, they are your new eyes, your new senses at work. Perhaps they will be more able to identify where the problems are at work. So that's one important thing about Kaizen is even newcomers can participate in the improvement process. But here are some other things I want to cover. The Kaizen process is usually described in terms of the 7 M's, 7 things starting with the letter M that I'll just share the first 3 of them with you today, because this is just a short live stream. The 3 M's that I'm going to share with you today are man, machine, and materials. And the first one, M, stands for the idea, or represents the idea that when you do improvement at work, you first look at the people who are working in that part of the process. Maybe the self-improvement that is identified is that one person keeps making the mistake or makes an error in the assembly process, whatever is happening there. And so maybe that person needs some retraining, or maybe they need to move to a different part of the process. The second M is machines. Are the machines functioning correctly? Are they breaking down too often? By looking carefully at this part of the process, you may find that maybe the machines are out of date, or maybe that they're just not suited to that part of the process. And finally, the materials. Are the materials that you're involving in the assembly process making some new product? Is your supply chain giving you materials that are faulty or low quality? And remember, some of this is thinking outside the box. If you've been buying supplies from company X for a long time, and those materials are causing a problem, maybe it's time for you to reconsider and ask them, what's going on? These materials are not working out. Don't be afraid to ask if those materials, those processes, those machines, the people who are doing part of the process, don't be afraid to ask, how can we do it better? Of course, you're going to be, constructive. You don't say these materials or these people are just bad for the part. The subtext for Kaizen is, how do we make it better? It's not just your opportunity to criticize someone or something. You ask to yourself and to others, how can we make this better? And after a while, when you ask enough questions like that, it becomes a natural thing for asking how to improve things. That's not just a healthy way to run a business. I would say this is a healthy way to run your life. If you are making mistakes, or just your lifestyle is causing problems, maybe it's time you ask yourself, what can I change? What can I do better? And that sense of self-improvement works in business or personal life. That's really what I'm saying. That's why practical philosophy is so important for people who have found it and applied it. They can see the results. So I'm standing in the gazebo now, overlooking the lake and all of the blossoms coming out of the water. Maybe you'll see something blossoming in your life or business if you apply Kaizen. So that's really the topic I wanted to cover today. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good Thursday. This is StoicDan in Orlando.